Hello everyone, this is Rita, Assistant Professor of Physics, Government College for Girls, Bhodia Kheda, Fatehabad. In this video, I will explain about the topic Newton rings. Newton rings, it is an important application of interference of light by the division of amplitude. You have already know about the interference. Interference could be done by two methods, that is by the division of amplitude and by the division of wave front. Now in Newton rings we will discuss about how the rings are formed, how we can calculate the wavelength of the light source used, and how we can find out the refractive index of any liquid. So I am going to start my presentation. So as I have already told you that Newton rings is an important application of interference by division of amplitude. Newton was the first scientist who examined these rings by using a plano-convex lens and a glass plate, and he measured the radii of the rings. So that is why these rings are named as Newton's rings. In this method, we obtain a very thin film of variable thickness by using a plano-convex lens of large radius of curvature and by using a plain glass plate. By doing this, we will obtain the concentric circular rings with center as the point of contact. As you can see in the figure below, you will get the exactly same rings while doing the experiment. Now I will explain that how these rings are formed. So I will explain it theoretically. When you will use a monochromatic source of light and the light is made to fall on this air film which is produced between the plano-convex lens and the glass plate, then what will happen to this incident wave? You can see in the figure that when the incident light is get reflected from the lower surface of the plano-convex lens, it will get reflected and we will obtain a reflected wave as R1, and further it gets reflection from the upper surface of the glass plate, and finally we get the another reflected wave R2. So in this way we got two reflected waves originated from the single incident wave. So R1 and R2 will form a reflected pair of waves which will further interfere to produce the circular rings by reflected light. Similarly, you can see in the figure we have also obtained a pair of waves T1 and T2 which got transmitted on the other side of the plain glass plate. This pair T1 T2 will interfere to produce the circular rings by the transmitted light. As you know that when the light gets reflected from the surface of a denser medium, it will get an extra phase change of 180 degree, and in this figure you have already seen that the wave R1 is obtained due to the reflection from the lower surface of the plano-convex lens which is a denser medium. So the R1 and R2, these two waves will be in 180 degree phase difference. So whenever they will interfere constructively or destructively, they will give us the Newton rings. So let us see what are the conditions and how they will interfere to produce the rings. Now in the next slide, as you can see that how the rings are formed. I have already told you that the ray 1 and ray 2, they will be in 180-degree phase difference. So we will obtain the Newton rings as you can see in the figure here. In this case, due to the extra phase difference of 180-degree in the wave number 2, we will obtain a dark spot or the dark ring at the center. We will talk about the conditions of the path difference due to which we have obtained these type of rings. Now, in the next slide, you can see that how the rings are formed due to reflected light system. As I have already told you in the beginning that we have obtained an air film of variable thickness between the plano-convex lens and a glass plate. You can see in the figure that the air film is having the variable thickness in all the directions, and at the point of contact of convex lens and the glass plate, the thickness of the film is 0 and it is continuously increasing in the all directions. So if at a thickness T of the film, the angle of the wedge is alpha. You have already learnt about the wedge shaped films. If at a thickness T, the angle of the wedge is alpha, then in the reflected waves R1 and R2, the path difference produced will be 2 mu T cos R plus alpha. Here mu is the refractive index of the medium of the film. Here we are using an air film, so this mu will be equals to 1. So when the reflected waves R1 and R2 will interfere constructively or destructively, we will see that the interference will be produced according to the path difference conditions. You have already learned about the conditions of path difference, phase difference, the conditions of maximas, minimas in interference. We know that for maxima, the path difference should be equal to integral multiple of wavelength, and for minima, the path difference should be equal to half integral multiple of wavelength. But in this particular case, as I have already told you that R1 and R2, they are out of phase by 180 degree. So the conditions of maximas and minimas will be somewhat different. Here for maxima, the condition of path difference will be the 2 mu T cos R plus alpha, which is a path difference, will be equal to n plus 1 by 2 lambda for maxima, and this path difference will be equals to n lambda for minima. So whenever we use this combination practically, when we use the lens of very large radius of curvature and the thin film will be enclosed between the lens. So in the practical arrangement, the light falls almost normally on the film. Taking all these conditions into consideration, we can say cos R plus alpha is equals to 1. When we substitute this condition in the above said conditions of maxima and minima, we will obtain the new path difference conditions, and they will be 2 mu T equals to n plus 1 by 2 lambda for maxima, and 2 mu T is equals to n by n lambda for minima. So these are the new conditions of maxima and minima in this particular case. Now from this condition of minima, you can also obtain the value of T, that is the thickness of the air film. Since we are using the air film, we can put the value of mu equals to 1. So you can obtain the value of t from this condition of minima. Now by using this value of t, that is equals to n lambda by 2, you can see if I put n is equals to 0, means the central ring, the t will comes out to be equal to 0. So you can see in the figure, the t is equal to 0 is a point of contact between the plano-convex lens and the glass plate. Then obviously that will be the center of the rings which we will obtain by doing this experiment. So it proves that for n is equals to 0 means the central ring will be dark, because we have obtained this condition from the condition of minima. So whenever n is equals to 0 means whenever we talk about the central ring in reflected system, we will say that it will be dark. So you can see we have obtained the condition of central ring from here. Now in the next slide you will see that how we can obtain the radius of the ring. In the diagram you can see at a particular thickness t, let us consider the radius of the mth ring is Rm, or you can simply say Rn. By taking this triangle MPN into consideration and taking R as radius of curvature of the plano-convex lens, and then by applying Pythagoras theorem on the triangle MPN, we can obtain the value of Rn, that is the radius of nth ring. Here we have to assume that R is very greater than t. Obviously radius of curvature of lens will be very large as compared to the thickness of air film. So I have obtained the value of radius of nth ring as Rn square equals to 2RT. By using this value of t in the conditions of maxima and minima, we will get the radii of dark and bright rings. So if I put the value of Rn square, we will get the radius for bright fringe and the radius for the dark fringe. You can see here by substituting the value of t in the previous value of Rn square, I have obtained Rn, that is the radius of nth bright ring, as square root of 2n plus 1 lambda r by 2, and the radius of nth dark ring as square root of n lambda r. So by taking these two radii of bright and dark rings, we can find out the diameters of bright and dark rings also. Clearly you can see from the condition of dark fringe that radius of nth dark fringe is directly proportional to the square root of n. From here also you can prove that, as we have obtained that the central ring of the pattern that we will observe will be dark, and alternatively dark and bright rings will be produced. Now while counting the order of dark rings, that is n is equals to 1, 2, 3, etc., the central ring will not be counted. Now from the formula of the diameter of the dark ring, we came to know that the diameter of nth dark ring is directly proportional to the square root of the natural number. Means if we want to find out the diameter of first dark ring, we will put the value of n equals to 1, because the central dark ring will not be counted. So like this we will get D1 is equals to square root of 1, D2 equals to square root of 2, D3 is equal to square root of 3, and so on. So, by knowing the value of D1, D2, D3, D4, etc., if we will subtract D2 from D1, means D2 minus D1, and like this D3 minus D2, we will get some values, and from that pattern we came to know that the diameter of the rings becomes narrower as the order of the ring increases. Like same, if we want to, now we have compared the diameter of the dark rings. Similarly, if we compare the diameter of the bright rings, so from the formula of the diameter of bright rings, we came to know that the diameter of bright rings is directly proportional to the square root of odd natural number. So when we put the value of n as 1, 2, 3 and so on, we will get the value of diameter of first bright ring, second bright ring, third bright ring and so on. And again, using the same pattern, we can find out the value of D2 minus D1, D3 minus D2 and so on. So we get a pattern and we can show that the diameter of first few bright rings are in the ratio 1 is to square root of 3 is to square root of 5 is to square root of 7. So we see that the separation between the successive rings is going on decreasing. So it means that as the order increases, as the value of n increases, the rings becomes narrower. Now, after knowing the pattern that we obtain in the reflected system, we will now calculate the wavelength of light used. So, in order to find out the wavelength, first of all, we will calculate the diameter of some nth and n plus mth ring. With the help of a travelling microscope, we can find out the value of dn and dn plus m. Then by using the formula of diameter of dark ring or by using the formula of diameter of bright ring, we can find out the value of wavelength of monochromatic source of light. We have already derived the formula for the diameter of dark rings. As you can see, the dn is equals to 2 square root of n lambda r. So, if dn plus m will be the diameter of n plus mth dark ring, so we will get dn plus m as square root of 4 n plus m lambda r. Now, by using both these values, by taking their square, that is by taking the square of dn plus m and dn, and then by subtracting these two equations, we can easily get the value of lambda. So, in order to find out the value of lambda, we just have to know the value of r, means the radius of curvature of plano-convex lens, that is we have used. We will put the value of r, and we have already obtained the value of dn and dn plus m. So, by substituting all the values in this formula, we can find out the value of lambda, that is the wavelength of light used. Now, here it is the experimental setup for finding Newton rings or the experimental arrangement of Newton rings. As you can see in the figure that we have used a monochromatic source of light and a convex lens is used in order to allow the light to fall on the transparent glass plate. After falling on the glass plate, the beam will go towards the combination of plano-convex lens and the glass plate, and then we can observe the reflected waves by using a travelling microscope. In this way, we will obtain the Newton rings in the reflected system. Sometimes we do not get a dark ring at the center as it should be there. That may be due to presence of some impurities or some dust particle between the plano-convex lens and the glass plate. Then if we clean that, we will obtain the perfect pattern of Newton rings in the reflected system, and we can easily obtain the value of wavelength of light used. As we have obtained the value of wavelength of light used, we can also determine the refractive index of the liquid by using Newton ring method. As you can see on the screen that we have used a setup in which we have introduced the liquid whose refractive index is to be measured. We introduced that liquid between the lens and the glass plate. So, and film will be obtained between the plano-convex lens and a glass plate of that liquid. Then by using the same method which we have used earlier, we will find out the value of refractive index. As we have earlier obtained the value of lambda for an air film between the plano-convex lens and a flat glass, as lambda upon mu is equals to dn square minus dn square divided by 4rm minus n. Now we have used a liquid medium whose refractive index is to be measured. Again, by having the same pattern of Newton rings, we will find out the value of nth and n plus mth ring, and then we will obtain the expression as lambda upon mu liquid is equals to dm square minus dn square divided by 4rm minus n. Now by combining these two equations, we will get the value of refractive index of the liquid medium which we have introduced in our setup. So we will find out that we obtain the expression for refractive index as dn square minus dn square, which we have obtained in the case of air film, divided by dm square minus dn square, which we have obtained in the case of liquid. So we have obtained the value of refractive index of the liquid which we have introduced. By using this method, we can find out the refractive index of any other liquid also. So by reaching this point, we have seen that by using Newton ring method, we determine the value of wavelength of light source used and the refractive index of the liquid. Up to this point, we have used a monochromatic source of light in which we get the Newton rings which are alternatively dark and bright, and we have seen that the diameter of ring depends upon the wavelength of light used. But if we use the white light instead of monochromatic source of light, then we will get the colored rings. However, only the few colored rings will be observed, and after that, due to the overlapping of the rings of different colors, no rings will be observed. So this was all about the Newton rings in the reflected system. I hope you understood the idea of Newton rings. Thank you so much.